Words that apply to all three persons of the Trinity, Alpha and Omega. The title Alpha and Omega conveys God's eternal nature and absolute authority. It represents being the beginning and the end, the source and fulfillment of all things. The Bible attributes this title to the Father, Son, and by implication the Holy Spirit, demonstrating their shared divinity and unity as one God. This truth challenges skeptics and non-believers to grapple with the Bible's consistent portrayal of the Trinity, the Father as Alpha and Omega. In Revelation 1:8, the Father declares, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty." This declaration emphasizes the Father's eternal existence. The title, Alpha and Omega, the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, signifies that God is the source and the culmination of all creation. The phrase, which is, and which was, and which is to come, further underscores the Father's timeless nature and sovereign rule over history. The Father's eternal nature is also affirmed in Psalm 92. From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. This reflects his unmatched authority as the creator and sustainer of all things, the Son as Alpha and Omega. In Revelation 22:13, Jesus states, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last." Here, Jesus claims the same title that the Father declares in Revelation 1:8. This is a bold and direct affirmation of his divinity and eternal nature. By identifying himself as Alpha and Omega, Jesus demonstrates that he shares the Father's attributes of being eternal, self-existent, and sovereign over all creation. Jesus' claim to this title is consistent with his declaration in John 8:58, "Before Abraham was, I am." This statement ties Jesus to the divine name revealed to Moses in Exodus 3:14, where God identifies himself as I am. Moreover, Jesus' role in creation, John 1:3, Colossians 1:16, and his future role in judgment, 2 Timothy 4:1, affirm that he is both the beginning and the end of all things, the Holy Spirit as Alpha and Omega. While the title Alpha and Omega is not explicitly ascribed to the Holy Spirit, it is strongly implied in his eternal nature as described in Hebrews 9:14. "How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God?" The Holy Spirit's designation as eternal affirms his timeless existence, co-equal with the Father and the Son. His role in creation, Genesis 1:2, sustaining life, Job 33:4, and empowering believers, Acts 1:8, further supports his divine nature. Only an eternal being can exist from the beginning and carry out God's purposes throughout eternity. The challenge to skeptics. The title Alpha and Omega, attributed to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, raises significant challenges for skeptics and non-believers. How can Jesus claim the same title as the Father if he is not divine? Revelation 22:13 directly parallels Revelation 8. If Jesus is not God, how can he share the same eternal title of Alpha and Omega? Why does the Holy Spirit's eternal nature align with this title? Hebrews 9:14 describes the Holy Spirit as eternal. How can the Spirit exist outside of time and participate in creation if he is not God? How do skeptics explain the unity of this title across all three persons? The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit each share the attribute of eternity. If they are not one God, how can they all possess this uniquely divine title? If Jesus is merely a created being, how can he be the Alpha, beginning, and Omega, end, of all things? Jesus' role in creation and judgment affirms his sovereignty. How can a created being fulfill these roles? Unity in Alpha and Omega. The doctrine of the Trinity provides the only coherent explanation for the shared title of Alpha and Omega among the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Each person exercises this attribute uniquely. Father, the source and origin of all creation, who reigns as the eternal King. Son, the Word through whom creation came into existence, and the one who brings it to its culmination. Holy Spirit, the eternal presence of God, active from creation to the fulfillment of God's purposes in eternity. This unity in the title Alpha and Omega affirms their co-equality and co-eternality as members of the Godhead. Conclusion. The Bible's consistent attribution of the title Alpha and Omega to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit challenges skeptics to confront the reality of the Trinity. If this title signifies eternal sovereignty, how can it apply to three distinct persons without affirming their unity as one God?